Your reality. Everything you're holding on to. I know how it ends.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy. Alright, a while back, Marvel Studios dropped some huge footage from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at CCXP. It's revealed that Kang the Conqueror is trapped in the quantum realm, like we theorized, and for some reason he needs Scott Lang's help to find some mysterious artifact to escape the realm. So this is very interesting because this reveals some major plot points about Kang in Quantumania and what we can expect in Kang Dynasty and in the Secret Wars. So what is this artifact that Kang needs, and why is Ant-Man of all people the one person who can help Kang the Conqueror? We think we figured it all out, and if we're right, this will mean that Scott Lang is one of the most important people in the entire multiverse.
Yeah, if you leave, Ant-Man.
Alright, let's start by explaining the footage that Marvel presented in CCXP in Brazil. They showed two scenes from the movie. One is the opening, and one is a really intense moment between Scott and Kang. The opening scene shows that after Endgame, Scott and Hope are now big celebrities. Scott wrote a book about his heroics, and Hope solved the housing crisis with PEM particles. Not totally sure how though. Like, does that mean that she shrunk all the houses or all the people?
What is this? A center for ants?
Anyways, it's a fun opening, but the second scene is what it's really all about. We see that Scott is confronted by none other than Kang the Conqueror, the big baddie of the multiversal saga. Kang apparently has Cassie captive, and he's forcing Scott to help him steal some special device in the quantum realm.
I want you to break into a place and steal some shit.
After that, things go downhill for Scott. Kang kicks his butt and even puts his foot on Scott's head before breaking his helmet. Kang ain't messing around. No, he's not. Okay, so there's so much to unpack about all of this. What is this device that Kang needs? And of all the people in the multiverse, why does he need Ant-Man's help? Well, I guess he needs Scott because this is an Ant-Man movie.
It's my movie, my superhero movie. It's all about me, yeah, it's all about me.
But in universe, Scott has a much bigger significance to the multiverse than you might think. So why is Ant-Man so important? Well, Doug, that's because Scott discovered time travel, technically. Sure, Tony was the one who actually figured it out and actually built the damn time machine, but Scott is the one who discovered that the quantum realm is the key to unlocking time travel.
I got stuck in there.
Sorry, that must have been a very long 5 years.
Yeah, but that's just it. It wasn't. For me, it was 5 hours.
If not for Scott, Tony would never have been able to create time travel technology, and the dusted would have remained dusted, meaning that Scott represents an absolute point in time.
Is an absolute point in time.
Absolute.
A point in the time flow that cannot be altered whatsoever. Well, it can be changed, but then that whole universe will collapse.
It would violate the second law of thermodynamics.
This event is the keystone of the timeline. So, Ant-Man represents the inception of time travel, and as Smart Hulk explained,
if you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
Every trip back in time creates a new timeline, and branching timelines represent new universes. If Scott doesn't discover the connection between the quantum realm and time travel, there are no branching timelines and no multiverse, which means no Kang. This is proven by the first episode of Loki, when the TVA puts Loki on trial for branching the timeline. When Loki blames the Avengers for his crimes, Ravonna Renslayer says,
"What they did was supposed to happen. You escaping was not."
Now, the Avengers were supposed to go on the time heist because it's all part of the predestined plan. It's a huge paradox. And that's why Ant-Man is so special and why Kang needs him. So this makes Ant-Man the nucleus of time travel and the never-ending multiversal war.
Wait, you mean the stuff the other Kang was talking about in Loki? The Kang that remains?
He Who Remains. And yeah, the stuff he talked about ties back to why Kang needs Scott.
Yeah, man, I need an exposition recap of all that stuff.
Well, you probably ain't the only one. The MCU sort of overcomplicated the inner workings of the multiverse. Alright, so in case you forgot, He Who Remains is the variant of Kang that appeared at the end of Loki.
He who remains. She still calling me that?
He Who Remains told Loki and Sylvie about a multiversal war that he ended, a war that was started by all the Kang variants. He Who Remains used a smoke monster called Alioth to win the Kang War, and then he purged all of his variants and created the Sacred Timeline, a universe that exists separate from the rest of the multiverse. And he created the Time Variance Authority to serve as time cops who enforce the Sacred Timeline and prevent any branching timelines. The Sacred Timeline remained sacred for eons up until Loki and Sylvie met He Who Remains. After He Who Remains dropped all of his exposition, Sylvie killed him and the Sacred Timeline started branching off into the multiverse. Well, technically the Sacred Timeline branched off before he died. It began once they crossed the threshold.
We just crossed the threshold.
something that wasn't explained yet, but it's a point in time where even He Who Remains didn't know what was going to happen next, and he had a script for literally everything that happened and will happen. And now, Kang and his variants once again will threaten all of reality, and they will start another multiversal war. And this is because the multiverse is stuck in a paradox, a closed loop. In every cycle, the Kang variants start the war, and then, before reality collapses, He Who Remains prunes all the Kangs and creates the sacred timeline.
You plunge your blade in my chest, and an infinite amount of me start another multiversal war, and I just end up right back here anyways.
And based on the latest Ant-Man trailer from Brazil Comic-Con, Kang is aware of this multiversal paradox.
Your reality. Everything you're holding on to. I know how it ends.
Loki Season 1 ends with Kang taking over the TVA. Now look, it is unclear if it's the same Kang from Quantumania or if it's some other variant, but I assume it is the Kang, and that means that he's now in control of the whole timeline. And like He Who Remains, Kang is able to see the future, and that's how he knows how his story ends. That Kang in the quantum realm is a survivor of a previous multiversal war. So eons ago, the He Who Remains purged all of his variants in the timeline, but one variant survived, and that's Kang. He escaped into the quantum realm and he hid there all this time.
How long have you been here? I don't know, it's hard to say. You know, time passes differently here in the TVA.
Reality, where all concepts of time and space become irrelevant.
Now we're pretty sure that Kang arrived in the quantum realm when Janet was stuck there. This moment in the trailer is probably a flashback for his arrival in the realm.
But why did he hide in the quantum realm?
Well, that's because the realm is a separate universe beneath the Earth 616 universe.
It's a secret universe beneath ours.
Our theory is that the quantum realm is a type of nexus of all realities. It's an interdimensional pathway between all universes. So the realm can be used for both time travel and multiversal travel. That's why Kang is safe from He Who Remains and his other variants. He exists in a type of limbo. He cannot be erased while he's still in the quantum realm.
Well, if that's the case, why does he need Ant-Man's help? And what the heck does he need him to steal?
Well, the reason why Kang cannot leave the realm is because he knows his fate. He's destined to lose the Kang War over and over and over again. So he wants to shift the paradigm with Scott's help. He represents an absolute point in time on the timeline. And this is why Kang will need Scott's help to steal some unknown device. And this device could be the key to changing the flow of time and winning secret wars. The device that Kang needs might very well be the Forever Crystal. This artifact was a key component in the Avengers Forever storyline from the comics. What's so special about the Forever Crystal is that it's basically a time machine that can actually change the past without creating branching timelines. Remember, the way time travel works in the MCU is that going back in time creates a new timeline. There's no way to actually change the past. So, with the Forever Crystal, Kang can rewrite the past and influence the future. His future, and more importantly, the future of his variant and his opponent, He Who Remains. Like ensuring that this time it will be Kang who wins the war and not He Who Remains, thus breaking the loop and conquering the multiverse.
Erased from existence.
We believe that the MCU will adapt some of the elements from Avengers Forever, which is also known as the Destiny War. This story focuses on Kang trying to change his destiny. He fought against his future self, who was called Immortus. Immortus was actually working for the Timekeepers, who were real in the comics, to change the future of humanity. To achieve that, he needed the Forever Crystal, and with it, he could erase whole universes and change the flow of time at will. Now, all of this sounds very much like what we're going to get in the MCU. He Who Remains is loosely based on Immortus, and he pretended to be the Timekeepers, who were the baddies in the comics. Kang and He Who Remains are locked in a similar, never-ending war through time and the multiverse, so it all fits.
So why does he need Ant-Man?
Well, another important thing about the Destiny War was Rick Jones, who represented a point in time that Immortus and the Timekeepers needed to change. Same as Scott represents an absolute point in time and that Kang wants to alter it. Now, in the comics, the Forever Crystal is located at the heart of Chronopolis. It's Kang's city and base of operation. The city in the trailers is probably the MCU's version of Chronopolis, but it's doubtful that the Forever Crystal is located in Chronopolis since Kang needs Scott's help to steal it, and he's the only one that can help Kang get it. So, we believe that the Forever Crystal is hidden somewhere deep in the quantum realm. We might actually see a glimpse of it right here. We see Scott running inside of some wacky dimension filled with multiple versions of himself. Now, these might be his variants from other universes, or they might be echoes of all the previous cycles of the multiverse, probably because time gets real freaky around the crystal.
You would enter a reality where all concepts of time and space become irrelevant.
Now notice that in the upper corner there's this flowing golden globe-like structure. It kind of looks like a Dyson sphere as well as the other ring devices that we see in the trailer. So this is probably the MCU's Forever Crystal. If the quantum realm is the foundation of the multiverse, then this place might be the very bedrock of reality.
Bedrock!
So time and space are irrelevant in the quantum realm, and since this place is at the heart of the realm, time is acting so strange that it will rip any living being apart. Kang cannot enter this place and retrieve the crystal himself. But Scott represents a keystone in the timeline. He's a living paradox. He cannot be erased. So he can survive and retrieve the crystal for Kang. And once Kang gets the Forever Crystal, he can change the timeline however he wants. And I assume that Kang will need a serious amount of quantum energy to power the crystal, which might explain this huge ring machine that he's building. Its purpose is probably to absorb quantum energy to power the Forever Crystal and use it to change the timeline. Now this might be an Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, but they're going up against Kang. No way the big bad of the multiversal saga is going to lose in an Ant-Man movie.
It's my movie, my superhero movie. They'll be lining up to see a movie all about me.
So if Kang is indeed after the Forever Crystal, he's going to get it. And that will be the powerful artifact going into the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, just like the Infinity Stones were in the Infinity Saga. And so that's what we think that Kang wants from Ant-Man. But what do you guys think of all this? Is Kang after the Forever Crystal, or is there some other device that he needs Scott's help to steal? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.